Single dad janitor yelled, "Don't get in the car." What the CEO did next stunned everyone. The night shift had just ended, and the quiet hum of the office building was broken only by the faint squeak of a mop. Inside the lobby, a man in his late 30s pushed a bucket across the marble floor. His name was Daniel Carter, a single dad, a janitor, and someone most people barely noticed. Daniel wasn't ashamed of his job. Every paycheck meant food on the table and school shoes for his daughter, Lily. But in a place filled with polished suits and expensive briefcases, a janitor's face rarely mattered. That was, until one cold morning when everything changed. As Daniel stepped outside to toss the trash, he noticed a black luxury car idling by the curb. A well-dressed driver leaned casually against the hood, checking his watch. Then Daniel's eyes landed on a little girl, no older than his Lily, walking toward the car, backpack slung over her shoulder. At first glance, it seemed normal, but something didn't sit right. The driver wasn't smiling. He wasn't waving her over like a family member would. Instead, his eyes darted nervously, scanning the street. Daniel's gut tightened. He'd seen this look before, years ago when he was still in the army. That wasn't a parent. That was a predator. And then the girl reached for the car door. Without thinking, Daniel dropped the trash bag and yelled from the top of his lungs, "Don't get in the car!" The sound echoed through the parking lot. The girl froze. The driver's face twisted in panic. He slammed the car into gear and sped away, tires screeching against the pavement. Daniel ran to the girl, who was now trembling in shock. She whispered, "That wasn't my dad's driver." Moments later, the glass doors to the building burst open. A tall woman in a tailored suit came rushing out, her heels clattering against the stone steps. She was the company's CEO, Victoria Hayes, and the girl Daniel had just saved? Her daughter, Emma. Victoria's face turned pale as she wrapped her arms around her child. She looked at Daniel, her voice shaking. "Wait, you stopped her. You saved my daughter's life." But here's the twist no one saw coming. Instead of simply thanking him and moving on, Victoria didn't leave his act of courage to fade into the shadows. The very next day, she called an emergency meeting. Dozens of employees sat in the conference room, confused why the CEO had summoned them all so urgently. And then Victoria walked in, Emma by her side, and Daniel standing awkwardly at the back in his janitor's uniform. Victoria began. "Yesterday, this man, someone most of you probably passed by without noticing, did something extraordinary. He saved my daughter from being kidnapped. If not for him, I can't imagine what would have happened." The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Daniel, who shifted nervously, gripping his cap in his hands. But then Victoria's tone softened. "Daniel is more than just a janitor. He's a father, a protector. And yesterday, he reminded us all that true leadership isn't about titles or paychecks. It's about courage and heart." She walked across the room and placed a hand on Daniel's shoulder. "From today onward, he will no longer work here as a janitor. I want him on my security team, and not just that. I want everyone in this company to remember, kindness and bravery should never go unnoticed." Tears welled in Daniel's eyes. He thought of Lily, of all the nights he'd struggled to make ends meet. And now, because he listened to his instinct and shouted 3 simple words, his entire life had changed. The company applauded, some even standing to clap. For the first time, Daniel wasn't invisible. He was a hero. That night, as he walked home holding Lily's hand, she asked quietly, "Daddy, are you happy?" Daniel smiled through tears. "More than ever, sweetheart. Because today proved something important. No matter who you are or what job you have, doing the right thing can change everything." And it did. Because one man chose courage over silence. A little girl went home safe. Because one CEO chose gratitude over pride. A janitor's life transformed forever. It was a reminder for everyone who heard the story. Real heroes don't wear suits. Sometimes they carry mops. In the weeks that followed, word about Daniel spread far beyond the walls of the company. A local news station covered the story. Single dad janitor saves CEO's daughter from attempted kidnapping. Reporters wanted interviews. Neighbors stopped him on the street, and even strangers mailed letters to his small apartment, thanking him for his courage. But Daniel remained humble. When asked why he risked everything to shout that warning, he simply said, "Because I'd want someone to do the same for my little girl." Meanwhile, inside the company, something unexpected began to happen. Employees who had once walked past Daniel without even saying hello now greeted him warmly. People from every floor stopped by his new desk in the security office to shake his hand or share a smile. Even more surprising, Victoria, the CEO, invited Daniel and his daughter Lily to her home for dinner one Friday night. Lily and Emma became fast friends, laughing in the backyard as if they'd known each other forever. Over dessert, Victoria looked across the table and said quietly, "You didn't just save my daughter, Daniel. You opened my eyes. For too long, I thought leadership was about numbers and boardrooms. But you showed me that real leadership is about people, about protecting them, valuing them, and lifting them up." Daniel wasn't used to praise. His cheeks flushed and he shrugged. "I just did what any father would." Victoria smiled. "Maybe so, but not everyone listens to their instincts. Not everyone finds the courage to act. That's what makes you different." From that night on, Daniel's life felt different too. He still woke up early. He still packed Lily's lunch with a peanut butter sandwich cut into little triangles, just the way she liked. But there was a new lightness in his step, a new pride in his heart, because for the first time in years, Daniel no longer felt invisible.